My first area was in in this place called Satsa. And it was I could tell from the get-go that it was a very strong unit. The bishop worked really close with the missionaries, and the members were very involved with missionary work. So we had a lot of help from the members. What I remember most, though, was just the love that the members had for the missionaries. I felt like a celebrity or even royalty, because they just treated us like we were treasures of gold. And they would always tell us that the work that we do is the most important thing, and that we are preparing souls to come into Christ. And that's what they would always tell us. And it was powerful for leaders and members to tell us that, because it helped not only motivate us, but just remind us every day that what we were doing was special and important in the eyes of God and in His plan. That's what I really loved about the people in Davao. That they know the importance of missionary work. I actually lived in a city. Yeah, it was a city. We rode mga parang tricycle sa Pilipinas. Pero hindi siya kagaya ng tricycle sa Manila or sa ibang parts ng Luzon. So, boundaries naman namin, we just weren't allowed to proselyte past 7 or 7:30. I remember we always started earlier in the morning, and we would go home early in the evening. Especially the sisters. That was the one rule that I noticed was unique. Kasi sa ibang parts ng Pilipinas, missionaries go through the normal routine or schedule, but we were just an hour earlier, or an hour ahead, I guess. And because the dangers of having some communist rebels sa Davao, foreign missionaries don't even serve in Davao Mission because of threats and events from before that, where Americans were kidnapped and taken hostage, and so they've done away with putting foreign missionaries in Davao Mission. The religious climate, however, is, I wouldn't say very different sa where I come from, which is Luzon, sa Kamining Tarlac. They still welcome missionaries, and they're open to hearing the message. And some of them were even frank if they wanted to hear it, just to hear it, and they wouldn't want to do anything about it. But people were still welcoming. And I appreciated that fact that they still respected us as human beings. They wouldn't kick us out of the curb, or they wouldn't throw object status, which I've heard happen before in some areas in the world to missionaries. So I was somehow relieved. Challenges, I would say maybe it's also in the Filipino culture that, so it's not just in Davao. Filipinos are very respectful and they don't want to be rude. So in a way, they would kind of just let us come in and teach them. And then when the investigators don't follow through with the commitments, but they just, and so they're not progressing. And that would be one of the main challenges, I would say, in my mission, because it's just them saying yes and yes, and they wouldn't, yes to everything, to all the commitments, but they wouldn't follow through with it. And it's because they wouldn't really tell it to your face. And I guess it was just their way of not being rude to us, which we appreciated still. However, we wanted to help them to progress, and when it's a dead stop for investigators, it can be very not frustrating, but it can be challenging, a little difficult. Missionary work advice, I would say, in my personal experience, I had this picture perfect vision of what my mission was going to be like, and then it was completely different. I didn't say that it was bad, but you just don't expect to be the perfect missionary. Just be the best missionary that you can be. And what my missionary experience taught me was that I had to depend and trust in the Savior a lot. I can't just trust in my own ability, my own strength, and my own wisdom. That I had to depend on Him. I had to rely on Him, and that's what the atonement is, and that's what we're teaching in the mission to begin with. So I had to learn to not only humble myself, but be open to help from the Lord, because He loves us. And that's the message that that you'll be preaching to the people. And it's important for them to know that they always have the Savior. Just like it is important for you to know that you always have the Savior. Even as a missionary, you still need Him. And because your calling is that mantle of responsibility is so huge that you really need the Savior even more, because it is precious souls that you are preaching the gospel to. That would be my one of many missionary advices.